Hey, Graham here with a short video just going to talk you through the 10 essential habits for health, fitness, and well-being so that you end up with more energy, more time, more confidence, and making more progress with less stress. Okay, so how did all this come about? Well, as you know, I've had 20 plus years of experience as a health and fitness coach. And throughout coaching all those people through all that time, there occasionally seemed to be something missing. Whether it was a lack of consistency, people not starting stuff, not sticking to, or just not getting the results they wanted. So I started looking for common patterns. So people who weren't doing too well, what were they doing? People who were doing amazingly well, what were they doing? And there seemed to be a lot of shared traits between those who were both succeeding and those who were struggling. And what became really clear was it's not about the diet or the exercise plan or what they're trying to do. It's more about the which hole in the boat needs fixing first. And that's the analogy we're going to keep coming back to. So what we're really trying to focus on is which hole you need to fix first. Now, for some people, that will be exercise. For others, it will be nutrition. But as you're going to go on through today, there are also 8 other habits that may also be bigger holes than you maybe anticipate or realize. So today's session is to introduce you to and to get you comfortable and familiar with the 10 habits that when combined mean that your boat is fixed, it's seaworthy, and you get where you want to go a lot quicker with a lot less effort. So what I want to do first of all is just to grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil and draw a circle with 10 spokes going through it. So just copy that graphic that you have on your screen right now. So we need to have 10 different lines, and that's going to form the basis of our wheel of life that we're going to complete later on. But I just need you just to kind of prep this up before we go. So just make sure that it's ready for later on in this training video. So the essential habits. As you probably know, I like a good acronym, so this is no different. So each of the letters of the essentials will form something that you have complete control over. So everything we're about to talk through, you can influence and manage on a daily basis and take control of this whenever you want. It's not like you have to wait for a lottery win or for somebody else to do something. Each and every one of these habits is something that you can control right now. So the first one, we're looking at enjoyment and fun. Now our brains crave the effect of 3 separate chemicals or neurotransmitters. Dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. Now for each of these habits, I'm going to do a separate and deeper training video. So I'm just going to skate over the surface in this particular one. But just know and remember that there are 3 key chemicals that our brain is craving. Every behavior that we engage in, everything we do, is an attempt to get more of these 3 things. So dopamine is our novelty-seeking, pleasure-seeking chemical. It means that we want new experiences and to have a variety of experiences. Serotonin is our feel-good hormones. That's when we are doing things we are loving, we are smiling, we're happy, relaxed, and you just feel good. That's the effect of serotonin. Oxytocin is our trust, bonding, connection hormone. So it makes us feel very snug and very calm and content. Often, we will do what we call fire and wire unhelpful habits to these feelings. So we'll link feeling good to food, alcohol, shopping, exercise, and we kind of jump from goal to get more dopamine. So people who find it very hard to settle or to stick at something are craving the effect of dopamine. Will often, in fact, will always choose the path of least resistance in times of stress. So we'll always resort to the quickest, easiest, most simplest ways, and that tends to be, like we said just now, things that are unhelpful and unhealthy. Now, if we already have enough dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin in our brains, we then have no need to search them out through food, alcohol, shopping. So we need to make sure that we're having fun, we're enjoying life, and we're connecting with people. We're doing things that make us laugh, make us smile, and make us just have fun. Okay, the first S is standing for sleep. Now, I'll be honest, I talk about this more than anything else in my working week. Again, there will be a deeper, longer video on this, but the things you need to know for now are that sleep is most effective between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. So that's when we kind of link in with our biorhythms or our circadian rhythm. So our bodies are primed to sleep, ideally between 10 and 6, roughly. There's a theory that thinks between 10 and 2 is when we physically repair, and between 2 and 6 is when we emotionally repair. And that's why a lot of people will wake up between, say, 2 and 3 when your kind of brain is in that transitional phase. If you go to bed at midnight, you've already missed 2 hours of physical repair. Now, in order for us to sleep, we need a hormone called melatonin, and that tells our brains that we can switch off. Bright light, particularly blue light, caffeine, alcohol, stress, fear, insecurity, overthinking, worry will all block the release of melatonin, making it very, very hard to sleep. So we need to have routines and rituals in place to take our body from that up system where we're wanting to get stuff done throughout the day into our calm, relaxing, switching off system. And melatonin is a key factor in that. So we need to make sure that we're sleeping well. We need to have structure. And basically, too many of us simply drift through the day with no plan, whether that's to do with your food, your exercise, your work, or just how you approach your day. The problem with that is that we are then at the mercy of our emotions. And by the time we realize that we're tired, we're stressed, we're overwhelmed, we're exhausted, we're in no fit state to think our way out. So we need to think about creating a structure like a recipe. Now, if your life is amazing, you have tons of energy, you can sleep when you want, you can switch your brain on when you want, you don't need a guide. If you're an amazing cook, you don't need a recipe. But if you are struggling to sleep, if you're struggling to get stuff done, struggling to switch on, struggling to switch off, you need to have a recipe to follow. And for that, we need to know what ingredients you need, how much of each ingredient, what order they come in, and how long they need to be essentially cooked for. So having a structure in place basically makes your life easier. You haven't got to think about your food or what to do for exercise or fitness. It's all there. All you have to do is follow the instructions. This is where someone like myself comes in useful, because I can do that for you, or I can do that with you. But definitely, at the very least, you need to structure. You need to plan ahead of schedule what you're going to be doing. Okay, exercise. Now, it's not as complicated or as time-consuming as many people would have you believe. The basics of exercise are you need to challenge and stimulate your body to change and grow at least twice a week. Twice a week is the minimum. We need to create something which we call overload, which is that stimulus for your body to create change. And that basically means making your body do things that are a challenge, that it's slightly stretching your ability and it's making you think, work, and slightly strain. Now, we also need variety. So you need to be creating that overload in a range of different environments or elements. So we need to have strength, you need to have flexibility, you need to have cardio. Speed, timing, coordination all play into your exercise. Again, I'm going to do a longer, more in-depth video, but just for now, you know to have variety. You can't just run every day. You can't just do yoga every day and only do that. We need to have variety. So sometimes you need to run, sometimes you need to stretch, sometimes you need to strengthen. Your body knows best with all of this. So if it's painful, if it's punishing, if it's boring, embarrassing, not necessarily doing it wrong, but you're not doing the best thing for you. Exercise should be easy, something you look forward to, and something that you find engaging and stimulating. If you don't feel those things, you haven't found your thing just yet. It's out there, you just haven't found it yet. Okay, nutrition. So we're going to split the food stuff into two. Now, the first thing we're going to call is nutrition. Now, the aim here is to nourish your body with everything it needs to thrive. Now that's protein, it's fat, it's carbohydrate, it's vitamins, it's minerals. And what's really important here is that it's about what our body can effectively use, digest, and metabolize. It's not about calories, it's about what our body can effectively use, digest, and metabolize. So what can your body break down efficiently? How can we extract the energy and use it well? Real rule of thumb here, stick to real food. Now for me that means food that you can pick, grow, or kill. It's natural and unprocessed. So it's chicken, it's fish, it's steaks, it's real vegetables, fruit, not processed stuff in tins or packets or food products. The closer you can stick to a food in its natural state, the better it's going to be for you. The second of the essentials along the food lines is what we call toxins. There's just things that go into our body that potentially can cause us harm. From a food perspective, now this isn't the same for everybody, but these will cover most of us. Alcohol, caffeine, sugar, processed foods, chemicals, preservatives, additives, and dairy and wheat for some people can cause inflammation and irritation, and in some degree you could say act as a bit of a poison to our system. We're also including in toxins energy, and that can be in the form of people. Negative, pessimistic, aggressive, controlling people bringing negative energy into you. Now on the deeper section for toxins, we'll also go into chemicals through products and environmental radiation. But again, just have in mind that your toxin score for the essentials is everything that you know or you're aware of that can potentially harm us, as opposed to the nutrition, which is all the stuff going in that will heal us and make us feel good. So two different things to bear in mind when you come to do your scores. One's the good stuff going in, the toxins, the bad stuff going in, or the stuff that you know isn't great for you. Okay, integrity. This is your mindset now. So this is making and keeping more promises, especially when it comes to yourself. The aim for your integrity habit with Essential is to build trust in you. If we think back to the brain chemicals, we talked about one called oxytocin, and that's to do with trust, connection, and bonding. And very simply right now, a lot of us don't trust ourselves. The more promises we keep after making them and basically doing what we say we're going to do builds that trust we have within ourselves. And if you do what you say you're going to do, you have a high integrity score. To help you out here, we need to make sure that you're committing to tasks and habits that you have a minimum of 80% confidence that you can and you will do it. If I give you a personal example here, I have zero confidence that I could go vegan 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I have zero confidence. Could I go vegan for 1 day? I could. Probably about 50%. Could I have one vegan meal a day? 1 day a week? Yeah. I've got 80-90% confidence that I could and I would do that. So in that example, if I was to say, right, I'm going to go vegan 7 days a week, I'm never going to stick to it. And I know that that wouldn't satisfy my integrity. Having one vegan meal a week and keeping that promise, I'm pretty sure I could do that. And if I did that, committed to it, then my integrity would be high. So make sure that we're making and keeping more promises that will build your trust in yourself and give you a high integrity score. If you do stuff, you don't see it through, you don't follow up on things, then that's where this score is going to be low. Okay, active recovery. Remember, we want to be thinking about everything we do among three different elements, what we call the biopsychosocial model. So physically, what do we need to recover? Well, we need to stretch, we need to mobilize, we need to do foam rolling, we do yoga, tai chi, massage, anything that's going to help us physically repair, recharge, and recover. From an emotional perspective, meditation, mindfulness, creating contrast in our day, sleep and napping, puzzles, reading, music, anything that can help us emotionally recharge is going to be good. Socially, it depends on our personality type. Now, if you are an extrovert type, then that means you're going to be able to recharge your batteries by being around people, noise, and stimulation. If you're more of an introvert type, then you're going to need more isolation, sensory deprivation, and more time on your own. So it's really important that you know which of those two personality types you kind of err towards. So that will depend on what you need to actively recover from a social perspective. We need to monitor something called HRV. Now this stands for heart rate variability. This gives you a very real-time feedback and a very scientific analysis of just how well you're recovering. Now HRV is basically the link between your breathing and your heart rate. When you have a high heart rate variability, what this basically means is that when you inhale, your heart rate slightly slows down, and when you exhale, your heart rate slightly speeds up. We're talking millionths of a second here difference, but there needs to be a difference. If you're stressed, if you're under recovered, then your breathing rate and your heart rate won't have any kind of coherence between them. They'll be completely separate. When your body's working well and it's recovered, those two are a very, very tight team, and HRV measures and monitors how well they're working as a partnership. The aim of it all is to help your body return to the parasympathetic state, which by this point you'll know is the state we're designed to be in most of the time, but most of us are in the opposing sympathetic state. Okay, liquid and hydration. This is basically relating to your water intake. Now you know that 2 litres of water is a minimum. It's not a target, it's a minimum, plus any other drinks. When you first start drinking that amount of water, yes, you will pee more. You will be going to the toilet a lot more often. But yes, this is also a very good thing. You should be going. As you get more and more used to it and you get more hydrated, that will slow down. If you're worried about having to get up at night, make sure you drink those litres earlier in the day and you stack that in the morning and early afternoon, and then you reduce and minimize your fluid in the evening. So drink that 2 litres as early in the day as possible, then it's done. You don't have to worry about it or try and remember for later, and you won't be getting up late or through the night to go for a wee. All right, the final essential is self-talk. Now, this is your inner monologue, so it's kind of how you're talking to you, your thoughts, your feelings, everything that goes on within your own head. Now, what we need to know of here is that you very simply will get more of what you focus on. So if you focus on the problems, everything that you haven't got, all the struggles, all the mistakes you ever made, all the things you could have said, all the times you were stupid or an idiot or you ballsed up, you'll get more of that. Or you can focus on the solution, how you want to be, how you want things to end up, and what your ideal outcome is. Aim with your self-talk to build yourself up. Be really aware of double standards and hypocrisy. So a lot of us are really nice to everybody else in the world, but we are our own worst critics when it comes to ourselves. And it's a double standard. It's hypocritical. So if you're nice to other people, make sure that you're nice to yourself. Make sure that you are talking to yourself in the same way that you would talk to your best friend or your mum or your dad or your children. Again, often when we compare how we talk to ourselves to how we talk to other people, there's a huge gulf there. And when we can close it and we talk to ourselves in a positive, open and proactive way, again, we get more of those feel-good hormones, and the knock-on effect for all of the other 9 essentials is huge. So make sure you pop. Positive, open, proactive. So be truthful. Seek out the good stuff. Seek out the opportunities and the options and do something about it. So those are the essentials. And as you can see, when we put them all together, they nicely form the acronym essentials. The good thing with this is that it means that you don't have to obsess or focus on just one thing to make a difference. So for example, say you twist your ankle and you can't exercise. Well, you've still got 9 other factors there that you've got complete control over that will account for 90% of your health and well-being. And that you can apply to anything. So it means that you have 10 things that you can influence directly and immediately that will make a difference to how you think, act, and feel. So now it's time for you to do some work. Earlier on, I asked you to draw a circle with 10 spokes going through it. What I now want you to do is to annotate that so that each spoke has one of those 10 essentials allocated to it. So just roughly write it all down. Doesn't need to be pretty right now. Make sure that every one of those spokes has an essential habit leading on from it. So enjoyment, sleep, structure, exercise, nutrition, toxins, integrity, active recovery, liquid, water, and self-talk. Make sure all of those 10 spokes are accounted for, and then what we want you to do now is to put a little number somewhere along that spoke that relates to how satisfied you are with each one of those things over the past 5 to 7 days. So taking into account the last week, how good has your sleep been? How good has your exercise been? How happy are you with your performance? So I just want you to go with your gut instinct here, and the thing is to be open. So be really honest and truthful about how satisfied you are. This is how it relates to you. So your view of exercise is going to be very, very different to mine. So judge it on what you think is best, not on what you think you should say or what you ought to be doing, but be truthful about what it is. When you've given each one a score, we then want to join each line up. So this is going to give you some indication about how round your wheel is. The key thing is that it's going to show you exactly where to work on. So with this example here, it's very clear that for this person to progress, their focus is going to need to be on their active recovery and their food, both the good stuff and the bad stuff. There's no need to be talking or focusing on sleep or water or even exercise here. The key things are to get all of those scores as equal as possible and then to grow them. So we want to get them all, 5, 6, 7s, and then expand them all up to 8s, 9s, and 10s. But it just shows you where you can focus first and where to prioritize your energy and your search. So where to look for, where to plan, where to create more structure. So for this person here, we want to be looking, say, at that active recovery. So how can we put in plans and procedures and structures so that they can increase that active recovery score every day? I hope that makes sense. As ever, use the messenger function to send me a comment, send me some feedback. Let me know if this makes sense to you. If you need any help, again, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. I'm more than happy to help you out and to make sure this makes sense. Like I said earlier on, there will be a separate, deeper, more in-depth video for each of the essentials. But for today, we're 24 minutes in. That should be a good overview to get you started.